Happy Tuesday and welcome to VA Careers Live. My name is Mike Owens and I'm a national recruiter with the Veterans Health Administration, as well as your host for our weekly segment, Talk About It Tuesday. If you're tuning in for the first time, I just want to let you know that we are here every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. So again, put that on your calendar, put a bookmark, whatever you have to do. But just remember, we are here every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. So feel free to grab a snack, grab something to drink, and join us as we talk about careers here at VA. Now, again, if you're tuning in for the first time or you've been with us for the last 3 years, just know we want you to be part of the conversation. So never feel like you have to be shy. Never feel like you have to be on Beyonce's mute challenge or something like that. Go ahead and put your comments in the comment section. Our team and I, we like to go through those comments throughout the day and throughout the week to make sure that everything that you put in the comment section is addressed. Also, anything that you put in the comment section, whether it's a comment or a question, it can be featured on a live episode of Talk About It Tuesday. So again, don't be shy. There's no crazy questions. My team and I will go through those questions and make sure that we try to get you any type of resolution that you may need. And lastly, we all know someone that wants to work here at VA. We all know someone that needs information that I'm giving out on a weekly basis. So with that, again, hit the share button. We would like you to share our broadcast. But again, let me say please. I don't want to be rude. Let me say please hit the share button. We have 2 hashtags that are associated with this broadcast. The first one is hashtag VA Careers. Again, hashtag VA Careers. And the next one is hashtag Work at VA. So again, use those 2 hashtags and go ahead and click the share button and let's get this information out to as many people as possible. So before we get into our broadcast today, of course, you know, I'm a stickler of making sure we do our question of the day. So last week's question was awesome. Last week we asked, do you rather pancakes or French toast? And a lot of you really answered that question, and it was really awesome to see that Team Pancake won last week. I was Team Pancake. You had some French toast, but you had some wild cards there. Some people threw waffles out there. I forgot to put waffles in the question, but I'm happy to see a lot of your Team Pancakes like me. So, but today, as we get into the fall weather, I live in the South, so we don't really have fall, but there's a rumor that it's going to be cooler this weekend. So with that being said, since it's fall weather, we're going to go into some fall beverage type questions. So are you, even though these beverages are year round, are you a coffee drinker or a tea drinker? So the question of the day is, do you rather coffee or do you rather tea? And me, I'm a coffee drinker. If I drink tea, that means I'm sick. So if you ever see me drinking a cup of tea or hot tea, that means I'm sick. But I am a coffee drinker. I drink coffee in the morning. I have an afternoon cup, but I'm not old enough to have the 9 p.m. cup yet. So I'm not there yet, but I am where I have the morning cup and the afternoon cup. So again, if you are a coffee drinker or a tea drinker, just go ahead and put in the comment section which one you prefer. So with that being said, we're going to go and get to our broadcast today. We have a very special guest today. Today we're going to be talking about a recruiter position here at VA. And not just any type of recruiter, it's a physician/provider recruiter. So our guest, she's been working in this role for a good little bit. She does a good, when I say that we were going to have her on our audience, on our broadcast today, a lot of people around VA was like, yeah, she's very good. So without further ado, she's from West Virginia. So if you are from West Virginia, go ahead and shout that out in the comment section. So if you are from West Virginia, you spent some time in West Virginia, you went to school, you grew up there, go ahead and put that shout out about. But without further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to Heather Hall. Hey, Heather.
Hey, Mike. How are you? It's so nice to be here today.
I'm awesome. I'm glad that you took the time to join us today, and I'm glad that you're going to talk about what it's like being a physician recruiter here at VA. And we all know that that's one of the hardest occupations to recruit for here at VA. And I don't want to steal any of your thunder, so I'm not going to talk anymore. But my first question is, are you a coffee or tea drinker?
I am a tea drinker now, Mike.
What?
Yes, I used to be hardcore coffee all the way. In fact, when I heard people don't drink coffee, I kind of looked at them a little bit funny, like, what? Like my taste buds have changed. I'm not sure. I like the tea now first thing in the morning, and I don't even have to be sick. So I'm
Nice.
sorry to burst your bubble.
So we're already starting this interview on the wrong page. I could have swore I just knew you were gonna say, I just knew you were gonna say coffee. I just knew you were gonna say, you know
Now,
what?
listen, that doesn't mean that I have sworn off coffee altogether now. I still, have a cup every now and then. I sneak it in. I still like that coffee, but the tea first thing in the morning is appealing to me for whatever reason.
Well,
I'm not sure.
when I decided to ask you that question, I was anticipating you on your desk right there, holding up a pumpkin spice latte in the camera and saying,
Okay.
"I am a coffee drinker."
Please don't mean this. This doesn't mean we can't be friends, Mike.
We'll see. We'll just see how the interview goes.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
But again, Heather, thank you for joining us. Again, today, if you're just tuning in, we're going to be talking to Heather Hall about what it's like being a physician recruiter here at VA. So if you have any recruitment experience out there and you're watching, or you are a military recruiter that's getting ready to transition out the military, and you're interested in coming to the VA as a recruiter, stay tuned. Even if you're not a recruiter and you're just wondering, there's always information from every broadcast that can go out to anyone. So again, stay tuned. We're going to talk about what it's like being a physician recruiter. So Heather, you're happy. You're not happy. I hope you're happy. You ready?
I'm happy. I'm all happy.
Yes. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first question is, okay. I know, like I say, a physician provider recruiter, and I can just regurgitate that term over and over. But can you explain what a physician provider recruiter does here at VA?
Yeah, I can actually. There's a lot of moving parts. I will tell you that. Our days as physician provider recruiters at the VA, and I would say most definitely in the private sector as well, never look the same. We're always doing something different. And I think that is kind of what is most appealing to us physician provider recruiters. We like that sort of change in our atmosphere a little bit, if you will. Right. So, we do pre-recruitment, we do marketing, network, and sourcing. So pre-recruiting, we're kind of we're trying to forecast vacancies. Okay. And so vacancies might be, retirement. A lot of our physicians, are retiring. So, we want to be proactive in that. We don't want to be reactive. We want to know if a physician is retiring, we can start looking maybe 12 months before, so that the position doesn't get unfilled, because that means we don't see our veterans, if the position gets unfilled, and we definitely don't want that. So we are forecasting vacancies for whatever reason. And then, like I said, we do a lot of marketing, network, and sourcing. So we are constantly marketing our facilities. For mine, it's Lewis A. Johnson VA Medical Center in Clarksburg, West Virginia.
All right.
I'm part of VISN 5, which is Baltimore, Huntington, DC, and Beckley. Shout out to those guys, because they do a really good job as well. So we're constantly marketing our facilities and showcasing the best of the best, pretty much, which they are the best, and networking. So we're networking with our other peers within the VA, within the national team, which we've been blessed with really the best of the best support with them, and our teams. And we are networking with other professionals in the private sector as well. So it's really helpful, to bounce some ideas and things off of other physician provider recruiters, and to see what their experience is like. Because I can tell you, in the healthcare world, and as you probably know, things are changing a lot every day, and a lot since COVID.
Absolutely.
The face of healthcare has changed, and recruiting. And so it's important to learn how to pivot. And, that's what we did. And so, and part of that also is sourcing. So unfortunately, we are not in a world where physicians are knocking on our doors anymore for jobs. So that means we have to go find them. And we are blessed with some applicant tracking systems that we go out and we source for physicians, whether it be, if we're looking for specialty primary care, for example, we could, like West Virginia. So maybe I'm looking for a primary care specialist that has some ties to West Virginia that may want to come back. So, you're constantly thinking about, where are they located? I guess it's kind of like real estate, location, 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 you know, a lot of us say
Right.
that. So, you know, we're also, you know, kind of looking at that. We use some databases with PracticeLink, Doximity, LinkedIn, of course. A lot of our physician provider recruiters are posting their jobs on LinkedIn. So if you're not on this Department of Veterans Affairs, you should be on it because we post our jobs also on LinkedIn. A little shout out there. And we also do some recruitment, of course. And so, you know, we're going to career fairs and job fairs. In fact, just this weekend, I get the privilege of going to an open house with one of our osteopathic, actually the only osteopathic school in West Virginia, West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine. So I get to attend their open hospital day. So, you know, hopefully we can get to talk to some residents, you know, who maybe would never have considered the VA as their career.
Right.
For sure. I want to get them while they're young.
Right.
You know,
Right.
for sure. And then, you know, we also, you know, when physicians leave, we want to know why they're leaving. So recruitment is a big part of our PPR job every day, but also retention. We want to know why they're leaving. So we're constantly analyzing metrics, data, you know,
Right.
right. And we also provide our physicians coming in with local community information. We just serve like as another additional source of contact.
Awesome.
For
Awesome.
the, yeah.
So, as you mentioned, the national team. So I am on the national recruitment team, the National Recruitment Service team, but I am not a physician recruiter. I recruit for interns for our HR program, and then for health professions trainees and the transition military program. So, with that being said, a role for a recruiter, like you can get 10 recruiters in VA and all their roles are different.
Most
So,
definitely.
how would you say that your role as a physician provider recruiter could be different from the roles of other recruiters or hiring managers within VA?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, my job is clinical. So I'm recruiting for physicians and APPs, nurse
Right.
practitioners or PAs. So obviously
Okay.
that's clinical. And you said you're a recruiter with the national team, so you're recruiting for maybe HR interns. So you
Yes.
know we're still recruiting in the healthcare spectrum, right? But
Right.
mine is more clinical, and yours, you know, is more administrative in that role.
Right.
And as far as like the hiring manager, so you know they play a part as well, and we as PPRs work in tandem with our hiring managers constantly when we are onboarding a physician. You know, whether that's obviously talking about compensation, location, you know, the wants, needs, and desires maybe of the physician, and along with that goes the wants, needs, and desires of the partner. You know,
Right.
um, if the wife is happy, usually, you know, then everybody's happy, or vice versa. You know, we want to make sure that everybody is happy in this transition. And I would say that that's sort of the difference between the physician provider recruiters and other recruiters. And of course, you know, as you're an HR recruiter, there are also nurse recruiters who are
Yes.
also recruiting for clinical as well. And, you know, we're also working with them too. So, you know, it's all kind of this nice big team environment that we all work with. I think we can all kind of learn something from each other.
Right. Right. And I mentioned something earlier, and I think I misspoke. So I know when I was talking about this role, I just particularly mentioned physicians. But yeah, as a physician provider recruiter, you do recruit for nurse practitioners and physician assistants.
Yes, indeed
So
we
yeah.
do. Yeah, for sure we do. So, you know, as we sort of transition into this new healthcare world,
Right.
APPs have always played a very important role in the healthcare. And you know, I'll just throw this out here. I think most of us know there is a healthcare shortage, so a nursing
Right.
shortage and a physician shortage, and so APPs are very important in our clinical role. So we are heavily, you know, looking at nurse practitioners and PA. So it's just not physicians, you know, that we're
Yeah.
looking at. We are also expanding our horizons to our nurse practitioners and physician assistants because they play critical roles as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for that information. So,
Sure.
um, as always, everyone sits in a role at VA, and sometimes that's a role that you came into the VA because you're like, I want to do that since I was a kid. And some of us, we find ourselves in a role at VA, and then we kind of fall into another role and that we like, and we never even thought about it. Like, I would take me for an instance. I came into the VA as a marketing specialist under the National Recruitment Service, and I did marketing and stuff for them along with Darren Sherrod, but we did marketing together, and I got to learn a lot about the recruitment and the National Recruitment Service. So I kind of fell into this position, and it's been a great position. So with that being said, how did you become interested in being a physician provider recruiter and also here at VA?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I will tell you that I have been a physician provider recruiter at the VA since January 2023. So very new to the government, but
Right.
not new to healthcare.
Right.
So I've been in the private sector for 18 plus years. I won't give
No
my
way.
age, but
How
yes
can you do that at
way.
22 years old?
I just turned 25. I just had a birthday, but I mean, I started when I was an infant. Mike, come on.
Right.
So I've been in healthcare, and it was kind of an accident getting into it years ago. And then once I got into it, I kind of fell in love with it. I had family that was, my brother that was a pharmacist, a stepfather was a pharmacist, so I could talk the talk,
Right.
and I thought I'm going to get in there and find out everything I can. So I did, and I started in the private sector in education actually, and
Okay.
found that I absolutely loved it. And then education kind of turned into recruiting nurses and recruiting, not HR, administrative, like, you said that you did,
Yeah.
but sort of our affiliates. So like maybe like rad techs or phlebotomists or something like that. And, it just kind of made me feel good. I'm placing clinicians, whether that be physicians, APPs, just clinicians into places where they're needed most in healthcare.
Right.
And then, so my background is in informatics. So I love all the metrics, the analyzation, that type of thing. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to get my master's in healthcare administration and just kind of go all the way. And I'm really glad I did, because it gives me such a broad spectrum of healthcare in general. And I thought, what greater way than, to serve the veterans is to provide physicians for those who gave us our freedom, the reason we're here today.
Yeah. And we appreciate you doing that work. As a veteran myself, we definitely appreciate you doing that work.
Well, I thank you for my freedom, for sure.
So on a weekly basis, as you know, we do this broadcast every Tuesday. And on a weekly basis, we get a lot of questions in the comment section. And so we get a lot of questions about what is it like working at VA, or how can I get in the door, or what can I do to make myself a more attractive candidate here at VA? So you have an audience here. So what advice would you have for someone that's looking to come to work here at VA?
Yeah, so my experience really lies within, like you said, the physicians and the APPs, the PAs, and the nurse practitioner. So what I can tell you is I do believe in my knowledge of working at the VA now. It's a little bit different in that recruiting realm. So, any physician or APP should just kind of like reach out to us. Anybody that's looking for a job. Like I said, we advertise on outside job boards. So I know that the medical world, the physicians, APPs are familiar with things like Practice Link, things like 3RNet, Healthy Careers, Career MD. So those are the outside job boards that we post on, in addition to in-house to USA Jobs. Of course, you can always apply to USA Jobs, but it's kind of been my experience that physicians and APPs are really just kind of perusing, and they have their CV available. So they can just maybe email us that without, applying on USA Jobs. We can kind of get it started there with the CV, and then we can move on. So, they're interested, they can apply on USA Jobs. But I would say for any physician or APP that's looking, for something in the VA health system, We have locations all across the United States.
Right.
If I want you in West Virginia at the Lewis A. Johnson VA Medical Center, but if I can't get you in Clarksburg, West Virginia, I'd be happy just to get you in the VA health system. So
Right.
there are plenty of physician provider recruiters at all locations. We're adding them constantly. That if I don't know who it is, somebody else does, and we can definitely get you in contact with the right person.
Awesome. Well, I know people who are watching, especially if they are a physician assistant, a nurse practitioner, or a physician, I know that they're happy to hear that information. And I'm sure anyone's watching that that is sitting in one of those roles, they're probably going to want to contact you right after this. So
I'm happy. I'm happy. Contact me via LinkedIn. You know, I am out there, so I'm happy to respond. I'm happy to help.
Right. So my final question for today, it's particularly a good one.
Okay.
What would you say is your absolutely favorite thing about working here at VA?
I think I hit on this just a little bit, but I'll kind of reiterate it. And maybe it sounds cliche, but I'll tell you something. The patients that the Veterans Hospital treats, I mean, are the best in the world. I constantly hear physicians say, and not that the patients out in the private sector aren't. So, you know, don't come at me with that. But I'm just saying it's different. These people gave us our freedom. They literally took a bullet for us. So my favorite thing is knowing that I have put good quality physicians in these positions to help our veterans in whatever way, whether that's mental health, whether that's primary care, whether that's a specialty, cardiology. I've played a part in that. And I can tell you that makes me feel really, really good.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So for those who may have tuned in the middle of this broadcast or the middle of the interview or towards the end, we're talking to Ms. Heather Hall. She's from West Virginia, and she is a physician provider recruiter here for the Veterans Health Administration. So if you want to know what it's like being a physician provider recruiter for the Veterans Health Administration, as always, you can come back to our social media channels, and you can also watch this broadcast in its entirety. But if you are a recruiter, whether you're a military recruiter or you're a recruiter out in the private sector, and you're interested in becoming a recruiter here at VA, and you have any questions, leave those questions in the comment section, and we'll flood those over to Heather so we can get some accurate answers for you.
Yes,
I know
please.
because I know we have a lot of human resources professionals that watch this broadcast and that are outside of VA. And I know we have some military recruiters that are watching also. But on the other side, if you are a provider, if you are a physician, a nurse practitioner, or a physician assistant, and you're trying to get your foot into the door at VA, again, put something in the comment section, and we'll be sure to get that over to Heather, and hopefully get you all here at the VA. So with that being said, Heather, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much. So, you know, like you said, we're just touching on everything that there is in the VA. There's so many benefits for physicians and APAs to working at the VA that, you know, I could go on and on about. But so hopefully they'll reach out to me and I can give them some more information in detail.
Right. Well, thank you for that. And as always, for those that are watching, our audience, we thank you every week for watching us. We know that there's other things you can be doing at this time slot. So if you are watching for the first time or have been watching for weeks, months, or even years, thank you. And if it's Tuesday, we'll definitely talk about it, and we'll definitely see you on next week. Have a great day. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks so much.